It's yet another quiet weekend here in the year of our Lord 2024. No, I'm just kidding. I can't keep up that facade for long. It was a busy weekend full of a little movie called Deadpool and Wolverine and a very special announcement that has gone over like just split people down the middle like it's bowling or something. But hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam. I'm joined by the Small Talk crew, Jake Collins, Matt Wyatt, and we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, spoilers and all, and we're going to be touching on that announcement from San Diego Comic-Con. But guys, how you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I went to go see it the second time, loved it a lot more. I can't wait to get into the nitty gritty of this movie. This was such an icing on the cake especially for the fan service of the Fox's Marvel movie. So, like, if you want to see my non-spoiler review for anyone out there who has not seen the movie yet, don't watch this on the spoiler video. Watch my non-spoiler review of the movie that I put up not so long ago if you don't want to know anything else.
Yeah, Matt's channel is linked in the description of this video. You have my permission to click away from this and go watch that if you don't want to know what happens if you haven't seen the movie, which you should totally see the movie. But if you're here and you want to know, well, we're about to tell you, because this movie did not go quietly into the night. A lot of stuff happened. That's putting it rather mildly. But Collins, you're being very quiet right now. What's up with you?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just processing all the stuff that happened in the movie. Because, literally, the movie, I really like this movie a lot. I was expecting to this be the best movie ever. It's not the best movie ever, okay? And there are some issues I have in this movie where I was like, oh man, but the movie is not like a bad movie at all. I will say that there are things in this movie that are better than No Way Home even. You know, I will say that I think that if you're going into this movie thinking it's going to be like cameos galore, you're going to be very disappointed. Think of it more like Multiverse of Madness or No Way Home, where it's like, look, there's a couple of cameos, not a lot of cameos. That's what people are saying. There's a lot of. I'm like, there's not a lot of cameos in this movie. Like, if you're thinking, I could count on there. It's about less than the fingers on my hand of cameos in this movie. You know, and but there is. I mean, but the thing is though, the cameos are good though. It's not, and I wouldn't even call them cameos. They're more like a lot of these roles are, with the exception I think of one or two, are more of supporting roles in this movie. Like there's this person's cameo. I'm like, that's not a cameo. If they're in the movie for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but we'll get into all of that and then some and more. But first, San Diego Comic-Con happened, and the big news. I'm going to share my screen. The big news coming out of it. Guess who's back? Back again. It's Robert Downey Jr., and he is back in the MCU as Victor Von Doom. The big announcement was made along with the Russo brothers' announcement that they are formally returning for Avengers 5 and 6.
And the writer.
That's very true, yes.
Yep.
To say that this announcement has polarized people would be a massive understatement. I've seen people excited, people saying, well, to quote Loki from the MCU, you must be truly desperate. But I think it would make for a good discussion. My thoughts are mixed, to say the least, leaning towards positive. I don't hate this because I think we got to remember that Robert Downey Jr. is not coming back as Iron Man. He's coming as someone completely different. I think that lead got buried a little bit.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, it's Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the thing that he is known for by a generation. So
I've been seeing jokes all day about Chris Evans going to be Magneto.
Yeah, they're already making fun. They're already making fun of that. But Hawkeye becoming Magneto.
There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance when it comes to this. But what did you guys think of the news?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are bitching, complaining about this news, saying, "Oh, this is a desperate move for them to get them back into the fandom." Well, yeah, you can say that with fucking Spider-Man, with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back as Spider-Man. which this was not originally planned for them to come back in the first place. But then the pandemic hit, and they needed to get back into the theater experience again when that theater shut down, and they needed to win the fans back for the Spider-Man fans, and it paid off. The goal is make the best movie possible. We're in a multiverse world, and you can get away with it. But if it was from a different actor, would it make any difference whether how good or bad the movie is? No, it wouldn't. Look at these past variations of Doctor Doom.
Fantastic
They sucked. They were terrible. They didn't do anything good. The thing is, make the best movie possible, make a good story around it, and he does not exist in the fucking sacred MCU timeline. Because the Fantastic Four are not connected into their reality. It is part of the MCU, but they're from a different reality.
I've already said this movie. Victor Von Doom is not in the main MCU. He is in a different universe.
Right. And also, fun fact, because he did audition for the 2005's Fantastic Four as Doctor Doom, and he did not get the role. And Kevin Feige and Jon Favreau talked about that in an interview like years ago before this whole announcement came to the play. And also, because I had someone tell me, like, oh, he's not the right fit to play Doctor Doom. Like, no, I highly disagree. He's an Academy Award winning actor. He was the second choice. Exactly. And I think that this is like a genius move. If you really want to rehabilitate the MCU and get people back on board, hey, desperate times, desperate measures. The goal is if can they execute a good story around it. Even getting the Russo brothers back was at a desperate times when they were not supposed to come back to do another Avengers movies. But now, because the Kane thing was not paying off very well, they needed to win back the fans. They want to make Doctor Doom as the main baddie of the multiverse of the whole saga.
And I was going to make a joke instead of saying, like, oh, I think this is terrible. I think this is actually a good idea because it's in the comics. Like, I know, but a lot of people are saying, but he's a variant of Iron Man in the comics. I don't think they said his name is not Tony Stark. His name is Victor Von Doom. And so, like, and people are like, oh, this is like, whoa, so they're just going to throw King's story away. If you watch Loki season 2, first off, you watch Ant-Man Quantumania, they kill Kang, but yet there's a Citadel of Kings. And if you watch Loki season 2, they kind of wrap up Kang's storyline. Like, Loki,
the end of Loki season 2, they said that they killed a lot of they got rid of the variants of Kang. So they pretty much resolved the whole thing.
They won. Like, Kang is gone.
And also, we already seen a bunch of variants from another actors before. Like, if you have the fucking Human Torch with Johnny Storm playing the Fantastic Four for a brief moment, yeah, I mean, no matter whether you liked or disliked it, it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. Now, if this character, Victor Von Doom, exists in the sacred timeline, and if it's Robert Downey Jr., then I'd be fucking pissed and fucking be scratching my head a little bit. But as now we're in the multiverse saga, yeah, they can have the opportunity to have Robert Downey Jr. to play that role that he originally was going to be was supposed to be playing in the 2005 version. But thank God he did not get that role at that time, because his direction, his acting career would have gone in a different direction.
Which, I mean, also because he was
pivoting to Deadpool and Wolverine really quick, kind of pivoting there. They made it very clear that the Wolverine in that movie is not the Wolverine from Logan. That we know from the 20th.
Yeah, it's not from Logan. It's not from the Fox's X-Men universe. It's another different Earth, another different Wolverine.
Which I will say that one thing about the Avengers about the Fantastic Four. One, I do like the 2005 and 2007 movie. I do like this, but I don't like the 2015 one. The 2015
no,
one
nobody did. Nobody liked that.
I don't even think the director likes that. The cast or the director.
I mean, they did. Yeah, they really messed the whole thing up a lot. So yeah, that's not really saying much, because look, not everybody in the casual movie going audience are going to know they know the Fantastic Four, but they're not like fucking hardcore fans. Nobody's going to give a shit who's playing that role. As long as people, once we see Robert Downey Jr. as a Victor Von Doom, as a Doctor Doom, and if he does it well, people are going to forgive. It's going to be forgiven, and they're going to forget all about the backlash.
What? I will say three things. One, I actually was kind of hoping that like they were going to do I hope they're going to do this, but a Citadel of Dooms, like how they did, like what if it's Doom? This Doom is like, I am Doctor Doom, and he's going around wiping out all the Dooms from like the Fox universe. Like he goes and kills the one from the 2005 film, then he goes and kills the one from the 2015 film.
That would be a good montage. But also, I saw one comic book shot that was posted online of Doctor Doom disintegrating Thanos. Wouldn't that be cool if they add that into the movie with Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom, when he just fucking incinerate, where he kills Thanos? That would be fucking cool for them to do something like that.
Some people, and like also, but some people are shitty. Like, oh, they're just pivoting because they said that they need, because all their shit, they shit all over the bed, and now they got to clean it up with Robert. And I'm like, no, if they really were trying to bring back Robert A. Jr. because they need him, they would bring him back as Iron Man. They would not bring him back.
Yeah, that would even be more desperation at that time. It's like you could say that with Wolverine being back as fucking putting up the claws again with Deadpool.
Yeah.
That might have been a desperate too.
And also, I actually have y'all seen the trailer? The Fantastic Four movie is called Fantastic Four: First Steps. I saw the footage they showed at Comic-Con. That footage has me hyped up because, which is technically it is footage.
I've heard about that. I had a mutual of mine who went to the Hall H panel of Fantastic Four: First Steps. That was made to be a test footage. That's not the actual real footage of the film because they don't start shooting until Tuesday.
Well, actually, it's not test, but what they said, the director explained what it is. It's footage that's going to be used in the movie, but it's not like they haven't officially started shooting it. Mostly, the best way to explain it is: have you remember Batman versus Superman?
Yeah.
Whenever like they had not started shooting it, but they're at Comic-Con, they showed the image of Ben Affleck pushing the symbol on.
And the bat signal, and you had Superman in the sky near the bat signal.
Yeah, that was not. They said that was shot. They said we have not started shooting yet, but we had got something to show you, and then they showed that scene, and they said that the way it was. I think that's what this is, where it's like they shot something, but it's not gonna be like it's gonna be in the film, but it's not gonna be something crucial to the film. Which this film, it looked like the first 20 minutes of the movie. I'm sitting there looking
it did. I saw some of the screenshots, and I saw the little bit of the footage, and I saw the Ben Grimm's the thing, and it didn't look CGI to me. I mean, it could be CGI, but they're not finished effects. But it looks like they're going back to practical look.
I'm not saying I have the trailer, the footage, but I'm just saying if you need to look at it, DM me, man. You know.
Oh man, I mean, I'm just excited to see this Fantastic Four, and hopefully that we can get a better movie made this time around because we want to break that cycle.
But you know what? I am actually excited. I just hope the only thing is it does look like Tomorrowland though.
Yeah, because they're going for a little bit more like the Jetsons style, where it's in a 1960s futuristic retro, and they did the same thing with the show Fallout in the video game. That it was more 60s retro future tech somewhere in the future. So they're pretty much doing something similar to that.
Less raunchy humor.
Even that Fantastic Four hover car thing that they have, the transport, that was pretty much from the Jetsons.
I guarantee you, I'm almost willing to bet $100 that Robert Downey Jr. will cameo at the end of the movie. And
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that he will cameo in the movie, but he will not be the main villain because we know that Galactus is the main villain in the movie. Galactus.
And the sad thing, I felt so bad because everybody was hyped up over Fantastic Four as the number one hype thing on at the panel, and that was the one trending. And then Captain America, the second thing, the main thing was the Avenger announcements. And then the second thing was Fantastic Four. And the third thing was Captain America. And way, way at the bottom was the Thunderbolts. And I'm like, imagine how they feel. They're like, hey, no one even leaked the trailer. They were just like, hey, we're over here. And they're like,
yeah, because it's putting out those movies that we already know what's coming, and they've already finished filming those two movies with Thunderbolts and Captain America: Brave New World. That's why it was a little underwhelming, but they saved the big surprises for Doomsday and Secret Wars, which that was something they needed to be when in the Comic-Con panel, especially Robert Downey Jr. coming back and playing a different character. Now he's playing the main baddie. Think about it as this: if they announced that Robert Downey Jr. was back as Iron Man and he's going to be in Secret Wars, for instance. I would bet you they would not complain about it. They would be jumping out of their seats if he would have came back as Iron Man and not Dr. Doom.
For a second when they said,
I just think people were butthurt about this
when they brought all the Dooms out, and then they had like the one guy in a green suit who was dressed like Dr. Doom. I was like, that is going to be the actor. And I'm like, he's going to pull off his mask. And someone yelled, I heard someone yell in the audience.
I heard that too.
Ben Affleck.
And I heard someone in the bathroom. That's Robert Downey Jr. That's Robert Downey Jr. I literally heard that in the background before he even revealed himself. Remember, he did that pose, that Christ-like pose from Iron Man 1. Did the same thing on the panel. That was such a great callback. Now, like, hey, same mask, but different. The same task, different mask or same task. That's what he said.
Different mask, same task.
I love playing a complicated character.
You know what? The only thing is, I'm hoping. I was hoping that it was going to be the actor from the 2005 film. And he was gonna be like, how like they redeemed they redeemed Electro in No Way Home. Like this is gonna be his redemption arc. He's like, oh, I'm gonna be the baddest motherfucker on earth. I am.
Nobody wants that guy back.
Yeah, what do you think? He was a good Doom.
No, he wasn't.
Out of the three actors that I played Doom before, out of the guy from the 90s film, out of the guy from the 2015 film, he was the best one.
I want this on the record. Robert Downey Jr. is the best Doctor Doom, and he has only made one appearance. The only the Dooms that we have gotten in movies have been the guy from the Tim Story ones and Toby Kebbell, who is cosplaying as a crash test dummy infected by Slimer from the Ghostbusters.
And there's the guy
that was
from
good.
the
That was a good one.
90s film.
Is the best Doctor Doom, and
Even his costume, I don't
film
even know if that's
has
even his real costume, but the mask was so comic book accurate. Like, how is that how he's gonna look in the movie? I mean, I can already tell he's already to be fucking crushing it as Doctor Doom.
You know what?
And even the Russo brothers.
He better have
At first, before I saw the full clip, and also with the full clip, I didn't see the full clip with the announcement until I only saw portions of it when he revealed himself. At first, I thought he was going to be playing the variant of Tony Stark that will become Doom, but I saw the full clip in the beginning, and the Russo brothers said there could only be one playing Victor Von Doom. So yeah, it's clarifying that he is going to be playing Victor Von Doom.
And I'm just saying, like, come on, you don't like the 2005 Doctor Doom? Like, I thought he was.
I mean, he was great in the movie, but the character itself was so badly handled, and they went completely off the source material.
The one thing is because they didn't understand the producers did not understand the task. They tried to make him another Norman Osborn. Okay?
Yeah, that's what they did. He was a Walmart fucking with Norman Osborn.
In the words of Buster Moon from the movie Sing, there is nowhere to go but up when it comes to Fantastic Four in the movies. We've gotten 4 Fantastic Four movies. The one produced by Roger Corman, the 2 Tim Story ones, and the Josh Trank one. All of them are terrible. I want that.
I will say that the 2005. I had a soft spot with the 2005. It's a terrible movie, but it's still entertaining. And I thought the casting of the 4 Fantastic Four characters were perfect choice. But even though the film itself is not a great movie, but it was still entertaining.
Great reviews, and it was a huge hit at the box office. And then the 2007 movie came out, and
it was a movie. I mean,
but look, people turned on it because there was so much. People were like, first off, they
fucked up Galactus. I mean, I didn't even know who the fuck Galactus was at the time. I was like, yeah, he's a Dark Cloud villain. Like, okay, but I had to really research who Galactus was, and then like, oh yeah, they really dropped the ball on the Galactus character. I think the Silver Surfer looked pretty dope, but I wanted it a little bit more. I don't know why.
My biggest issue with that movie was the fact is, okay, first off,
it became campy. It became a little generic campy movie.
Like that. My issue was, why would Dr. Doom need to put the mask back on if his face is fixed from the Silver Surfer? Like, why would you?
Because he wants to look badass. He wants
to look. That's his villain. I'm like,
because he thought he looks cool. He looks like he would have looked like a fucking Dementor from Harry Potter.
And I'm just like, and then the sad thing is when he's on the board, Dr. Doom is, and he starts doing this, it's like you could tell he's not talking. He's just going, I really like this.
That was ADR. It was an ADR work.
ADR, because it's like that right there is why you need like something like a Tony. I guarantee you they're not gonna have Robert Downey Jr. on the mask talking, like the mask shaking up and down, going, let me tell you, it's gonna be probably like a Stark mask. Where it's gonna be a Doom mask, but he's gonna have electricity. Like
it's gonna look a little bit more like an Iron Man like mask or something like that. Or maybe they might stay true to the source material of the design of the mask. They might go for that route.
You think they're gonna put Robert Downey Jr.'s face in that Doom mask the whole entire time?
Not the whole time. No, I don't think it will be the whole time. And also,
we're
gonna see the characters from the sacred timeline that we know, like Tom Holland, Spider-Man showing up. We know that they're gonna show up. How they're gonna react we can only imagine how they're gonna react when they meet another variant that is a doppelganger to Tony Stark, and how that's gonna have a major weight and an impact.
I seriously want when they lose to Doom. I hope they disfigure his face. I hope it's Doom with a beautiful face, and he doesn't have to wear the mask at all in the movie. And then when they disfigure his face, and then he wets the mask on at the end, and he sits on his Doom throne. And then the next movie, you see he's like fully Dr. Doom, where he's just sitting on his throne, and he's evil, and he wears the mask because he's disfigured from the Avengers. And like that's when they have and he has Battle World. I mean, that
Battle World. I can't imagine him sitting on the throne, looking more. Even though he's going to be disfigured, but he's going to be more powerful in Doomsday.
I keep hearing that Wolverine is going to be in the movie. Like Wolverine's going to be in.
I do believe I don't think he'll be in Doomsday. I think my prediction. I think that Deadpool and Wolverine will show up in Secret Wars.
They're both going to be in Secret.
For Secret Wars, I believe because it's going to set up a multiverse war where they're going to put the most varying characters in a battle world. We know that's going to happen, and it's setting up a multiverse war. And if you watch in the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine, when he's with the TVA and Mr. Paradox accidentally showed a footage of fucking Thor hugging fucking Deadpool while he's on his death on his death.
Deadpool trying to face a mouth fuck.
Yeah,
Thor,
they used they literally used the stock footage from Thor: The Dark World, and they just tweaked it and it looked like they had a scar in the prosthetic eye because they don't have the actual real footage. But he cuts it off, does not want to show him what's going to happen, and was like, "Why is Thor crying? What the hell? What's going on?" And he's like, "No, we can't. No, that's just you sometime in the future." So my guess is this is a Secret War setup, and they're teasing and giving him a little taste and nod.
But we do need to get to Deadpool and Wolverine, though. So let's put the period at the end of the sentence on this one and say that I think they've got just under 2 years to work on this. So I have a feeling that there's a little bit of time to make this right. I mean, I think interest in Doctor Doom will skyrocket. I mean, look at me. I've downloaded a comic, Fantastic Four Books of Doom, that I'm currently reading right now in lieu of this announcement. So I was
literally next week and gonna buy a Julian McMahon Doctor Doom from the 2005 film, a 12-inch version of that. And now I'm like, I'm sure 100% sure that shit went up in price.
You should buy it now and then resell it. You'll make a killing.
I don't want to. I like Doctor Doom. I like that Doctor Doom as well. I like his outfit. You can talk shit about his performance all you want, but you can't say the outfits in that movie are not awesome.
You are one of one. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you
Justin
think
Loomis likes it too.
What did you think of this announcement? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. Now let us get into Deadpool and Wolverine, and this is your spoiler warning. Abandon ship now if you haven't seen the movie and you want to go and see it, then see it and then come back and watch this later. But let us get into it starting right now. It's been so long since I heard like the Marvel, like the fanfare, the dun 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 dun, and like I was like humming it to myself, and as I was humming it to myself, I heard Deadpool humming it, and I'm like, is that? And then sure enough, like Deadpool's humming the Marvel fanfare, and then the next thing you know, he's digging up and desecrating the grave at the end of Logan. So I'm like,
he's digging up Logan's grave. He's like, there's no way he's dead. That's not how the healing factor works. And then after he's digging up, it's like, fuck shit.
He takes his
body out. And then
he's just like, yeah, I feel better now. And he sits right next to his goddamn adamantium skeleton corpse. Like, and he makes fun of his fucking Australian accent. Oh, you might. That was the opening. The opening was genius.
Yeah, it was. And then when the TVA shows up, he breaks off parts of the body, uses it as weapons, all while soundtrack to Bye Bye Bye
by NSYNC. Dude, when they play that song and they played a great choreography of how to use all the adamantium skeletons as a weapon, and they did it at a great beat and not feel like it's misplaced. But now at that moment when I first watched it, I wanted to fucking jump out of my seat and do the dance move, the NSYNC. I wanted to so bad. Even the more I watch it, the more I was like, come on, please let me jump out of it and let me do the dance move.
This wasn't like a jokey like opening credits. Like usually the last two movies had jokey opening credits, like cinematography.
They didn't have that honest names. They did not have this honest names this time around. That was a little different than what we saw in the first two. They always put out honest names for the jokes. They did not do it for Deadpool and Wolverine.
I was expected to say like starring. He says starring Van Wilder, and he says
they name drop Van Wilder at the third act. They name drop
Van Wilder.
Van Milder, or I do the fourth wall breaking too. The proposal.
What the fuck?
You think this is all I do? I could not stop laughing. That was so good.
And like, which you know what? Which I will say, the jokes. There are a lot of great jokes. Especially, I love when he's just killing the TVA, and then like I'm like, why do they keep sending more? He's just killing him. It's like.
I thought it was glorious. Like they think they're gonna get him. I was like, dude, you're not gonna get Deadpool. Deadpool is the shit. He will fucking kill every last one of you if the first chance you get. Oh man, I was enjoying him slaughtering the TVA.
Either. He's just using Wolverine's bones.
And also, he used his claws. He popped up his claws and put it on his wrist. I'm sorry, I don't usually do this necrophiliac or whatever he said.
I love the moment. I love the moment where Deadpool's got Wolverine's claws up a dude's butt, and then he's got
And his
stabbed
balls,
another
as
dude
he's
in-
like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry that Wolverine is so hard.
Also, subtle
Just seriously
foreshadowing for the ending.
claw fucking them up their balls in their butthole.
Also, foreshadowing for the ending. He does end up like this at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, I do like whenever we go to him as a car salesman, and like he's just sitting there. Like after, like, I like how when he goes to Avengers, he's like he goes to Earth. He takes Cable's thing.
Yeah, he jumps into the sacred timeline. And at first, I was a little confused. I was a little confused on how he was able to get there because I know he has the time device. But then again, I looked back and watched. I remembered that in Deadpool 2, he jumped into another universe of X-Men Origins, and then he jumped in another universe and killing Ryan Reynolds. And so yeah, we can literally put that at pass. So technically, he can jump in another reality of another timeline.
Yeah, and I do like that he was sitting there interviewing by Happy, and I'm just like, and then he just makes a crude joke saying, "I took the Hulk and started masturbating in the lobby," and with him, and I was just like Hulk mashing. I was called Hulk mashing. And then I'm like, why are you telling him that? He's not getting.
And also, it's like, hey, what's like? Oh, you're an Avenger. Like, what's your superpower? Parallel parking.
He's like, I'm like, and then,
he really wanted to become an Avenger, and he wanted to do something that matters. And he gets so nervous by just using his sense of humor because that's always been his thing. He filters all of his emotions through his sense of humor and jokes.
He's like, you're just a driver, right? He goes, okay,
you're just you're just a chauffeur.
Well, that's how he started, and then he moved his way up. That's how
he's like, let's go to Jack in the Box now. He said, why don't you get the car and we'll go to Jack in the Box? It's like, I don't do that anymore.
No, it was Shake Shack, I believe.
Shake Shack,
yeah, Shake Shack. That's
it was nice to see Jon Favreau back, at least for this one scene, because lest we forget, he was the guy that directed the first Iron Man movie. So I appreciate
Star Wars, man.
And he was in Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and he played Foggy. He did play Foggy.
That's the only connection to the Ben Affleck movie. Well, with Jennifer Gardner,
because you got to remember at the time that in the early 2000s, Daredevil had the rights from Fox. Fox had the rights to Daredevil at the time.
Yeah, but then we see the apartment. We see Blind Al, who is hilarious in her few scenes, like her various terms for cocaine.
And also, he's fucking selling pain pills to get the money rent. I was like, you motherfucker, you trying to kill me? It's like, I hope to God that they will find the fire to kill you.
Cocaine, but you can't afford the rent. I'm like, really? It's like Deadpool.
Yeah, he's having a big midlife crisis, especially in the last 6 years.
I love when because Peter's his best friend, and Peter loves him. He is actually a true friend. He literally said, look, I'll give you half of my commission because I love you, buddy, and everything. And he goes, I heard about this guy who got a piercing on his nipples all the way to his dick. And he goes, that's something, ain't it? And he's like, the fuck? And he goes,
and they showed it later in the part during his party. And it's like, yeah, that's him. He's literally playing his own. The funniest part was when we cut back to him, like showing the customers to drive the car, the whole family. The whole family was... That scene was so fucking funny right there. I can't remember what he said when he was cussing in front of the kids. Like, hey, I don't have kids. And it's called Dream. And the company card is called DreamX instead of CarMax. It's like a satire of CarMax.
I wanted to bring this up. One of the whole big things at Deadpool 2 is that Vanessa was pregnant. And all of a sudden,
no. She
they wanted to get pregnant. She took her thing out and said, "Open, it's time to make a baby." And he goes, "Really?"
Okay. And it's open baby season, so she took the thing out of her.
And he goes, "I'll go get the strap on." And she goes,
"Okay,
that's not how."
I'm not sure that's how it works, but we'll give it a try.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's okay. Like, hey, I get it. Like, I the whole thing with the breakup scene, I know we're jumping a little bit of ahead, but in the flashback that when Cassandra Nova was going inside his head, we get a little bit more context of why they drifted apart, because she wanted him to be more than just going around and killing people for money and just actually do something more for themselves. But then he gave her the ultimatum, like, hey, do you want to be with me or do you not want to be with me? Like, say it now that you don't want to be with me. Giving her the ultimatum. So he just cut it short. So now we know a little bit more why they broke up. He's the one that broke up with her.
He became a car with a shitty.
Yeah, he became a car salesman. The Avengers, the X-Men in the here's the thing: the X-Men in the fucking Avengers wouldn't even take him in to be a superhero. So this is all he got.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
on top of
it
it,
is.
then of course he gets the TVA takes him.
Oh
Before
yeah, he literally thought
I
he was gonna
love
get
I
butt. He
love
literally
that
thought he was
scene.
gonna get butt fucked to the TVA.
he literally was
Because
saying like,
you cracked that joke one time when they show that teaser trailer when they just gonna be like, "Peg, it isn't new for me, but it is for Disney."
yeah,
And
like
they
literally,
just
I
made
showed them
sure
a meme one time where it had like a bunch of like a porn star with a bunch of people around her about to be a gangbang. And Deadpool's face was photoshopped on the porn star, and the TV agents were like the other guys that were gonna gangbang. And I'm like, Deadpool was literally thinking this was gonna happen to him with the TV agents.
Yeah.
He was gonna get
certain
gangbanged by
of
the
it.
TV, especially
He was
that guy.
certain.
And then he would later take his sword and stab him in the throat. That same guy in the snow, where he's just like, just like, wait, the guy says, "I never liked you. I hate you." That black guy who's like the
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
guy. Hey, I hate you, and he just takes a sword. And
It's like, yeah,
No.
yeah. He bounces off the katana and bounces off and goes straight in his mouth. And it's like, keep the his name out your fucking mouth. He does the Will Smith joke. He does that Will Smith. I was like, damn, they really went there. That was so good.
They did.
I like how he's just like, and that one guy, he's sitting there like saying, "Oh, that guy." I guarantee you, Deadpool told that guy, "Hey, grab my balls a couple times." The guy just because he kept grabbing his crotch and his ass.
And he was like, "I'm
Your
pretty sure
Taylor
this
is
guy.
a
I'm pretty
predator.
sure that Taylor's a predator. I'm pretty sure he's a predator."
Well, you told him to do that.
Here's the thing. Another funny scene when we meet up with Mr. Paradox and he's introducing like, "Hey, I'm offering you something you can't refuse, and then like if you do this one thing for us, you can join and be the hero and be amongst other heroes." It's like, "I'm Marvel Jesus." It's like, wait a moment, just wait a moment. He just runs up to the camera. It's like, "Fuck you, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland. Fuck face." No, he's like, "Get fucked." Mic drop, breaks the camera on the lens. That was
And,
fucking brilliant. I mean, they
and
show
we
that
don't
clip at
see-
cinema, and I've heard about that clip because they show that clip at
They
CinemaCon
showed
like
the first
back in
30 minutes of
April.
the movie, the critics.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
like
don't.
it
we
gets
don't
funnier
see
the more I watch it. How they were poking fun of Fox and Disney, like they did a great job on that.
Which, you know what I really laughed at was like, then there was that one guy, the heavyset guy, who was just sitting there and his eyes like, "Oh yeah, you're eye fucking me." And he says, "I know that," and everything. He's just sitting there, and the guy's just like calling. So who you calling? I'm calling HR. And then later on, we
You calling your wife? You calling your wife?
He said, "Calling your wife to like get down." And then all of a sudden,
His eyes saying "fuck it,"
and then he drops it in the asses in the guy's face. He's like, and
and it plays the
Yeah,
Google
but-
Dolls. It plays the Google Dolls iris. And I don't want the world to see me.
He was ready for it too.
He
really
wants.
was.
It feels like he wants to get sit on his face.
he wanted.
He was
Deadpool
right,
to
but also he was right. He was not even
Aw.
joking about that. He's like, yeah, his eyes say "fucking."
I love, and then we get the montage of him trying to find the right Wolverine, starting off with the baby Wolverine, the small one, and
Like
then
It was more the comic book actor height that they
Wolverine,
poked fun of
the
it.
height
He's
size.
because he was supposed to be the 5'3" in the comic books, and he was supposed to be bulkier, and they fucking brought that into the movies. Like, oh, look at you, Wolfie, such a good Wolfie.
and then the one thing that just like sent me was Cavalrine. I love
Yeah.
that so much. Like,
Dude,
seeing
I
him-
was hearing the rumors that is he going to be Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine? Yeah, so now it's official that he is the second actor to play the live action Wolverine. Even if it was just a cameo role in the Marvel universe, but
Yeah.
that was so good. Remember, he just pulls out his claws, he does the reload arm like he did in Mission Impossible Fallout, like just pushing him right across the portal. But then we got
And he just
a lot of comic book accurate characters from other variants. We got the Old Man Logan, we got that one. And we got the whole orange, brownish suit with the Hulk appearing. Like, hey, this is the part where you fight Hulk, and he pops the claws, and you see I'm Marvel Jesus, and the Hulk just pushing. Dude, that would have been so cool. But wouldn't that have been cool if we saw a little bit of more of the fight with Wolverine and the Hulk just for a brief moment? I know that it was just there for this fan service cameo, but that would have been dope, dude.
You know,
and there was a nice nod to the Avengers where he's like, "I am Marvel Jesus, you miserable pet." Boom,
You miserable pet. Boom, backhand him. And we saw another variant of Wolverine where he's standing on that fucking X cross crucifixion with a bloody skulls. I don't even know where that comic book was from.
That looks
was-
like the cover of a heavy metal album, and I loved it.
Yeah, that's from a comic book cover because the showrunner for X-Men 97 used that for Magneto.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and also we got the eye patch Wolverine when he was like the James Bond type of
And
Wolverine.
we got a futuristic Wolverine with the
Yeah.
with the leather, like with
Yeah, with the letter, and he has a big, heavy metal hair, and he's like, "Arr, arr." It's like every time he's going across the multiverse from other variants of Wolverine, they just want to kill him right away. I don't know. I don't know if it was just because they know Deadpool from his universe and they fucking hate him so much, and that's why they rejected him. That's my only speculation,
I love
my only
that.
Explanation. But that was fucking great.
And then Henry
I
Cavill's
mean,
like, "You were just leaving," and then he
you were just, dude. He looked so fucking gigantic, and he
Yeah.
was like rocking that body and rocking the look in his fucking making his shop with a chopper. Like, oh my god, that was a good
And
look
then
on
I
him.
loved how the montage was all soundtracked by "The Power of Love" by Huey and the News.
Huey in the News, yeah, they brought that back because it was like the Back to the Future style.
That
you know
was
what?
just
The only thing I wish they would have had, like they wish that would have had, was like an animated Wolverine. Like he jumps in there, he's animated.
Oh, dude, wouldn't that have been dope when we saw if he crossed over in the car? Because they did that into the Spider-Verse. They did that across the Spider-Verse when you saw a one live action actor in the Spider-Verse in the whole void in the community, wherever the hell it was called, the Spidey Society. That's what it was. You saw Donald Glover as Prowler. So that would have been cool if he crosses over to the animated world of X-Men and meets Wolverine in that world.
But then Deadpool finds the Wolverine that we stay with for the rest of the movie, brings him back to the TVA, and the TVA sends both of them promptly to the Void, which leads to the first, pretty much like the first Deadpool and Wolverine fight. We get a better one later in the movie, the one in the Honda Odyssey. You know the one I'm talking about.
The Honda Odyssey, the whole fucking Honda Odyssey, from making fun of when they first see that fucking car that they had to drive, and he makes fun of. God, that whole joke with the Honda Odyssey was so fucking good.
The only thing I love the fight scene between them. The only thing I didn't like was, all right, so I love when Sabretooth, I'm like, oh, it's Tyler Maines there from the X. I love Sabretooth from the X-Men 2000. I think he's so terrifying. Has that
he did.
hair. I mean,
he's like, oh, that's your brother.
Yeah.
he totally made fun of X-Men Origins because they changed the whole backstory of them being brothers. Like, oh, the Sabretooth, that's your brother.
Like you said, at least it's not Liev Schreiber. I would have made that. I wish they would have made that. At least
dude, that would have been fucking great joke. Name drop if he name dropped Liev Schreiber.
And then he goes, ready to die, and then they run. And all of a sudden, Wolverine cuts his head off, and I'm just like, oh bullshit! Come on.
I mean, but that shows you that he is he's more stronger than any other variants of Wolverine. That he can easily take him out, no problem. Because you gotta look. I think that because the other variant of Wolverine from X-Men 2000, they were because this was a PG-13, and they don't want to go too far hard edge of a hard R of what Wolverine is capable of doing. So because he will chop your head off. And also, if you really think about it, when he chopped his head off, that was a little bit of a callback from X-Men Origins Wolverine. Do you even know how to kill me? I'm going to cut your goddamn head off. See if this works.
which you know what? I always see, because I said, even though to help my continuity sakes, I always see Victor Creed and Sabretooth two different people in the timeline. Like, because they never say that is, even though we know it is, but they never say Sabretooth and X-Men 2000 is Wolverine's brother. They always just say that's Sabretooth.
That was just part of the joke. That was just him poking fun of it.
And then the X-Men Orange Wolverine, they always say that's Victor Creed. They never call him Sabretooth. So I always just see it as, okay, Victor Creed and Saber are two different people. Sabretooth is just a henchman for Magneto that's has a lot of power. But he gets killed by Cyclops with laser beams. At the end,
he gets killed.
Because Magneto sees him and he's like,
but Victor Creed from X-Men Origins, he has the same healing factor with Wolverine. That was a lot of continuity errors right there.
Yeah, that's why I always say it. It's two different people in the Fox universe.
Yeah, they're just different people. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, because he chops this guy's head off clean right off.
Yeah, because they're not PG, they're not watering it down. Like, no, this is what Wolverine would do. He will go fucking dirty. He will chop your head off the first chance he get if you try to cross him.
We meet Chris Evans in the movie, who is not the Chris Evans that everyone knows.
My God. I didn't know. I had no idea that was Chris Evans. I didn't recognize him when he was under that hood. I was like, wait, who is that? Like, I don't recognize this voice. It didn't sound familiar. I was like, who the fuck is that?
I was thinking it was Tobey Maguire. No, I didn't think that.
And then when he's like, oh, he did the superhero landing. Now that's a superhero landing. And he pulls his hood off like, oh my God, that was Cap. And that was the whole part of the joke when you saw a bunch of the group of those fucking Mad Max people and they surround him and they're like, hey, we got to work together as a team. Oh, right. He's going to say the word Avengers Assemble. And I fucking died laughing, but I also got giddy when he was just like, this is Johnny Storm's Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. or the version of it or whatever he was. But that was like so funny. And just the moment that he was about to shine, Pyro, we meet up with Pyro, John as Pyro from the Fox's X. He controls the flames and he fucking depowers him. Like, oh, he hits him he got hit in the balls when he was falling on the top of that thing. It was like, oh fuck, shit. At first, I thought he was dead. Like, how did he survive that fall so quickly? Like, damn it.
Yeah,
but it made sense because Pyro can control fire, and for him to depower him, it actually makes a lot of logical sense when you're bringing Pyro into the movie.
He has as much screen time as Channing Tatum does in Free Guy.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like, and also that like it always reminded me of the joke with the flame on joke. If there was a meme in the Winter Soldier in the elevator, and they had a still photo of him jumping out of the elevator, and they add the fucking text, the subtext called "flame on," and when he hits the ground, like, oh fuck, I spoke too soon. That joke will always be in my head every time he falls off and fails completely.
That pissed me off though. That scene when Deadpool runs his fucking mouth and gets the Human Torch killed. It's like, oh yeah, he was talking mad shit about you. I'm like, you fucking snitch, okay? Like, literally, even Wolverine was telling him, shut the fuck up. Like, Wolverine was telling him.
I must say though, like Johnny Storm's death was absolutely brutal because he's like talking, and then all of a sudden, Cassandra Nova, who we'll get to in a second, is like, "Oh hi," strips him of his skin, and he's just standing there like he's like the dude from Hellraiser, like being assembled.
But also, like, but also, the Cassandra Nova said that she's been after him, like for a while, and he's been in hiding in the Badlands. So I think she would have killed him regardless of whether she knew about what he said about her behind her back. I think he was already dead from the moment they entered.
But like, Deadpool basically sealed his fate though with running his mouth about her, saying, "Oh." And I was like, when Wolverine, I was on Wolverine's side saying, "You fucking asshole, you got him killed." And I'm like, "Yeah, you did," because if you wouldn't have said nothing, she probably would have like at least he would have had more time to live compared to, when you're sitting there talking. Oh yeah, he was saying mad shit, like he was gonna do all this to you and all this stuff. I'm like, which that honestly, that joke was funny at the end when he was like, people are saying I got him killed, but he said it himself. He showed that at the end of the post-credit scene.
He was literally asking for it, and that was the funniest shit ever. It's like, hey, now you know, fuckface. That was fucking perfect. But yeah, I do agree that we all wish that he would have been in the movie longer. And it was the second time that Marvel has offed another Fantastic Four member from another reality. Because they did that in Multiverse of Madness. They killed another variant of fucking Reed Richards, the man from Fantastic Four. So what's their gripe against the Fantastic Four?
I mean, like I said at the top of this stream, there has been no good Fantastic Four movies for any stripes, for any reason.
Bullshit.
So this just reaming of the Fantastic Four just is good for my health. But I want to take a moment to.
It's like literally Ryan Reynolds is raping my childhood. That death was worse than Green Lantern.
I want to take a moment to shout out Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin, because she was fantastic. She's not on screen all that much, but she's really good. Like she is from another universe, Charles Xavier's brother. But
she's the twin sibling from Charles Xavier.
I think it's McAvoy Stewart's brother.
And also, she was born into the void. She was born and grew up in the void all her life, and that's all she knows.
It's creepy how she enters people's minds. Like, she sticks her fingers in through the head, and
she's literally probing them, like literally and figuratively.
Literally, and just seeing her hand like rummage through there, I'm just like, that's an invasion of something. Something, I'm sure.
Basically molesting their minds.
Pretty much.
Which that made me laugh whenever she goes, "Is the intimacy coordinator here?" Like, it's like, also I loved how they escape, which there's a joke that there's not, I don't know, I might have missed this because I watched them, it's not in there. Whenever there's a TVA agent, and all of a sudden, Goliath eats the TVA in the trailer. Goliath eats, and then Deadpool goes, "Oh my fuck!" And then they escape. I'm like, "Oh, that's
I do remember. That's not in the movie."
That was literally, and that was Ryan Reynolds' partner. His the one he runs.
He's from
Oh,
Always
that's
Sunny
what
in
he-
Philadelphia. I
He
do.
told his
They
own
did show that,
father.
and they cut his scene. They confirmed they cut his scene out of the movie.
Rob McElhenney. That's who he is.
Yes, Mac from Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
But,
I
but
can't believe it. It's like, come on, really?
But Deadpool and Wolverine escape out of there on a sentinel foot, I want to say, and then they meet. I believe his name is Kindpool, played by which is
Nice Pool.
Ryan
His name
Reynolds.
is Nice Pool. His name's Nice Pool.
That's what I meant. Played by Ryan Reynolds and his mullet, who has
I thought it was a
has
man
dark
bun.
hair.
That's a
No,
man
that was a
bun.
man bun. That was a man bun.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But then they get the Honda Odyssey, and then
What about the dog pool? Came out of nowhere.
He was trying
so
to
fond
steal
of
the
this
fucking
dog.
too.
The dog was literally making out with him.
And then Wolverine grabs the dog from the
He's like, "Hey, can I have your dog?" And Nice Pool was like, "Over my dead body."
Hey, bub.
And he had that golden desert eagle that he desperately wants.
two of them.
Yeah,
But
he wants two of them.
But then we get the Honda Odyssey fight, which I think might be one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, where just Logan goes on that rant and like, just the fact that you cannot die is God's greatest joke, and he just like lays into
Deadpool was crying. I was crying.
He went into the angry rage mode, like
I'm gonna fight you.
like monologue. He went all Steve Martin on his ass from Planes, Trains, and Automobile. It did feel like that. And then he's just,
was
hey,
like
you got
ready to fight.
anything else to say? No, like nothing else to say. Mouth. And he was like, and he just sits there like, I'm gonna fight you now. Boom! Just fucking socks him in the fucking nose. Like they were fucking slicing and dicing each other for like all day and all night. And then you see them cut, and you see at the top of the view, he's passed out. Wolverine's passed out, and fucking Deadpool's wrapped around the fucking seatbelt thing, and got his fucking closed his mouth shut. That was done on purpose. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Someone mysteriously drives the wrecked Honda Odyssey away. And, well, I guess the first really serious cameos like show up. I did not see that one coming, is a bit of a quartet. We got Elektra, the Jennifer Garner Elektra, Blade, Wesley Snipes,
Blade. When that moment he showed up, I fucking lost it because I knew there was rumors going around that Blade was going to show up. I didn't believe it at first. I thought it was a BS rumor, but after seeing him, I was like, it was so surreal to see Wesley Snipes playing Blade after 20 years of not playing that character for that long, and seeing him coming back and working with Ryan Reynolds again was absolutely surreal to me.
Yeah, apparently Wesley Snipes at Comic-Con, and he said that they really had not had any beef. Like
no, they didn't. It was a part of the joke. I think he said that it was just a part of the joke that people just ran with it and thought that they actually hated each other during Blade Trinity. But no, they never hated each other.
But they said, you know what the sad thing is? They said, they trained. They said they all trained for months for the fight sequence, and they said Wesley Snipes said, he says, I had to get back in shape because I had to fit my Blade outfit. And he goes, the only thing is, he says, I'm going to tear it out because we shot in the summer for that fight scene. And then on top of that, he says, I was freezing. And then we shot in the winter because the strike happened. And when we had to resume, he goes, I was freezing my nuts off, especially.
Yeah, he talked about that too. Yeah, he said he had to train to prepare because the man at his age who had to get in the best shape to fit the Blade outfit. And also, yeah, he had to prepare for the fight choreography. He's like, oh god, because the choreography is so hard. And he's like, luckily, I didn't have to do any of them.
Yeah, and Daphne Keane said when she said that Jennifer Gardner was like, when she saw Jennifer Gardner training, she goes, I don't know if I've done this in 20 years. And then all of a sudden she started doing this, going, and she goes, oh, you're fine, trust me. Because
the lines between Deadpool and Gambit were hilarious. When Gambit is like he
who's your fucking dialect coach?
The Minions, that got the biggest laugh.
Where'd you get your dialect coach from? The Minions?
Like,
that was but seeing Channing Tatum now, because I had a feeling that they were going to bring Channing Tatum as Gambit, because we already, if you look back, back in the mid 2015, back after the successful Days of Future Past, they were supposed to get a Gambit movie off the ground, and they were because since they greenlit Deadpool before the first movie came out, they were all excited. They grabbed together a Comic-Con Hall H, and Channing Tatum was going to be Gambit, and he has his own solo movie, but it never happened, and he got screwed over by Fox, and it never got made. And it makes sense to, when you have the multiverse, it was a great opportunity to get that Marvel legacy characters that didn't really get a chance to have their time to shine. And it made sense for Channing Tatum to come in the movie because he did cameoed in Free Guy with Sean Levy as the director. So it made sense.
Yeah, you know what? Also because Ryan Reynolds knows Channing Tatum well, and also because I remember in 2015 was the 2015 Comic Compound because they had the X-Men cast there from the Apocalypse X-Men.
Yeah,
Apocalypse,
X-Men Apocalypse cast. They got the Fan Force stick.
Fantastic Four cast. And then they had Channing Tatum out there. He's like, he's gonna be Gambit. And then of course I was like, oh, he's gonna appear in X-Men Apocalypse. I was like 100% sure. I'm like, oh, he's gonna appear in X-Men Apocalypse.
Nope.
And then of course they had Hugh Jackman come out there, and everybody's like, oh yeah, because Hugh Jackman's like, Logan, we're shooting Logan right now, and everybody's excited because they're like, oh yeah, woohoo! And then all of a sudden, and then it started taking hits. Like Fantastic Four comes out, flops, and nobody likes it. X-Men
I think that had something to do with that, and also it underperformed for X-Men Apocalypse, and it was not well received from critics. So they were like, "Oh, we can't do it now."
Yeah, no. And then of course Logan and Deadpool were the only successes, and you know what? But which X-Men Apocalypse did make $500 million, but it was not nearly as much as
it made less than Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
it made less than Last Stand.
Yeah, I know, that's crazy. And now it was a best opportunity to give us that fan service and give us the comic book accurate of Gambit that we've always wanted. And Channing Tatum is a fucking Gambit fan. This was his passion project. He wore the shirt at Comic-Con Hall H recently.
Comic-Con. He wore the same shirt at Comic-Con. He wore it.
Ryan Reynolds got his passion project. He got his passion project, but he didn't get his.
Yeah, which, you know what, I thought the only thing I hated was this accent. I thought it was part of
the joke. Was done. But that was part of the joke. That was on purpose.
I thought he was Jamaican accent. I'm like, is he doing a fucking Jamaican accent?
So where the fuck did you? Who was your dialect coach from the Minions?
I'm like, he's Cajun, but yeah, he's from the Bayou. But you know what? I like the animated series version of Gambit's voice where it sounds perfect. My name is Gambit. Let me tell you. And I even like the guy who does Gambit's voice.
I'm Remy LeBlanc. I
even like the voice, not the character, but I like the voice in Origins Wolverine. I like that guy's voice.
Oh, Taylor Kitsch?
Yeah,
Taylor Kitsch, who played Gambit.
Which he was supposed to reprise his role as Gambit in First Class, but he couldn't do it because of John Carter.
Yeah.
That's Ryan's favorite movie, by the way.
Well, I think, from that time period from X-Men First Class that's taking place in the 60s, in Origins it was taking place somewhere around in the 80s, I think. So he would not have been alive that time.
Yeah, but they didn't care because they were just like, "Hey, can you do it?" And he said, "Yeah, I could." But then he's like, "I can't. I'm doing John Carter." Which I'm like, would that have made sense logically? No, but it would have been cool to see Gambit in the outfit.
No, it would not have made any sense logically. But thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we got. But his is comic accurate. Even he had the suit, the headpiece on.
Yeah, he had the suit, the head. He had everything. Like, it was so comic book accurate. But I was still, when I first saw this for the first time, I was so worried that am I going to get too attached to them and they're going to fucking off them like flies in Multiverse of Madness style? Thank God they didn't do that, because I was like, whew. Even the second time I saw it, I felt so much better on the second viewing.
Gambit said something horrible, like, "Oh yeah, my father."
He shot his own balls when he was conceived.
It's like my shot me out of my dad's dick and then to my mama. And I'm like, oh God. I was like, okay, come on, Gambit. Okay, don't be that vulgar. Deadpool.
He's got such a dirty mind.
Deadpool's we already got one jokester. We don't need another crude person here.
And also, yeah, fucking Logan was taking a shot of his fucking liquor, his scotch. He's like, hey, that's mine. Oh, thank God I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
but I also love Daphne Keane getting her flowers for this because she was excellent in Logan. And that scene by the campfire, that's a part of the movie.
That was a great reunion moment when this is the character from Logan and she's meeting the variant of Wolverine. And it's like, yeah, he was drunk and angry, but he was still there for us and he couldn't help it. And to see him talking about his tragic of his flashback, it's like, yeah, Scott made me wear the suit, but I did not want anyone to let them know that I wanted to be there. And the suit is all that I have left that reminded me of the team. And I was like, oh, I teared up the second time I saw that scene. It was so emotional. It's like,
that scene was so beautiful.
Beautiful. It was done so perfectly well for the story, and it made Logan even better. It had such an impact to the story.
I mean, honestly, and then I like how they go They're just driving the minivan, which Wolverine apparently hides in the back, and they're driving.
Which that was so funny.
Electra's driving the car, Deadpool's sitting in the.
But also,
shotgun.
Magneto's dead. They met up with Magneto.
And the Punisher
variant,
apparently is dead too.
and the Punisher is dead. It's like, how many Punishers are there?
4. Like,
and also with the variants of Blade, Elektra, and Gambit, they all got excluded from their own universe when they were grabbed by the TVA. And it's like, hey, our world has forgotten all about us. So we're like the outcasts of the Marvel Legacy characters, essentially.
Let me ask you this: did you ever think about which Punisher it was? I was sitting there thinking, like, I wonder if it was.
I thought it was Thomas Jane. I thought it was going to be Thomas Jane.
I was thinking Ray Stevenson because one reason why, because he can never appear again because he's passed away since then. So I was thinking,
right. That would make sense too. That would
have
been
to
so
be Ray
emotional.
Stevenson because he's the only one that would actually. I mean, Thomas Jane would too, but like, I think honestly, it would be. I was like, it has to be Ray Stevenson
but also Daredevil. He's dead, and they joke about that with the whole Bennifer thing because Ben Affleck was Daredevil. Was like, sorry, like Daredevil's dead. Sorry, not taking.
It'd been really funny if they said she made him see, and then he got so fucked up, and then she just killed him because he went nuts after seeing because he's like, I can see, shit, I can see. It'd be really funny if Ben Affleck was like a 10-second cameo where he's like, she made him see. He goes, I can see. Holy shit, I can see.
That would be so fucking funny.
Like,
he was able to, and he goes nuts, and he dies.
Make me blind again. And then she goes, okay, and she rips his eyes out.
And as we get into the Honda thing, like, hey, it's like, how many punches you have? And then fucking, like, and also, Blade grabs his rocket launcher, but Punisher's rocket launcher. Is like, there could only be one Blade, and it's just me. And then he and Deadpool stares at the camera like, yeah, sure. Because we always know that Marshall Ali is going to be playing Blade, and it's like, that was a great fucking joke.
I don't know. I'm going to be married with.
No, this was at the time when they were still filming it, and they still believe that we are still going to get a Marshall Ali's Blade if we're ever going to get that made.
Dude, at this point,
I did laugh though. I did laugh at that. There's only one Blade.
But
it's like, there's only one Blade.
We get the final battle in the void. I stress the final battle in the void. I'm not saying the final battle. The final battle in the void. I want that across.
The big battle.
It's epic. I love how it looks. I love how all of the.
I had issues though with that.
Legacy characters get to shine. Go ahead.
Now, I hated that they Space Jam New Legacy the old X-Men villains. Essentially, and what I mean by that is they're
the extras, the whole
extras in the costume of these characters. They're not the real, like, they didn't get Ray Park, they didn't get Kelly Hu.
They said that Ray Park was Toad. I heard they confirmed that was Ray Park.
It was Ray Park. Ray Park said that. He said, they asked him, are you in Deadpool Wolverine? He tweeted, it says, no, I'm not. He goes, you're in the trailer. And he goes, they must have kidnapped me in my sleep then.
What was it before the film come out? I thought they clarified that was Ray Park in the movie.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it could have been Ray, but that didn't look like Ray Park at all, especially. I
think most. I do agree that they just couldn't get them back to play the variants, and we did see a variant of Bullseye. We did see a variant of Bullseye that looks similar to the Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie with Colin Farrell, and it was a black guy playing Bullseye. Yeah. And also, because people thought that in the background, they thought from the still photo, they thought it was Blade from the series. Like, no, that's not Blade. That was Bullseye.
Which is a black guy, which makes no fucking sense. But like, hey, these are extras. He's like, these
are extras. They got they had Azazel and Lady Deathstrike. They had Lady Deathstrike and they had Azazel.
I went. You know what? It wasn't Jason Fleming. Which I'm like, you could have got Jason Fleming. I don't know what the fuck. Was he busy or something? Like, honestly, I was like, there was a couple of roles. I'm like, you could get.
I don't know. Maybe it was the shooting schedule thing because it was because they shot it before the actor strike, and then after the strike ended, then they went back and shot this movie.
He turned it down. Like, they offered him Deadpool 3 to come back as Juggernaut. He said that. Like, he said, yeah. I talked to Sean Levy, the director, and he goes, I didn't want to do it because he said, I hate being put in that suit. I can't move my neck, and he said,
I don't blame him.
And he goes, they said, oh, you got a couple of scenes. It's a great scene. And come on. And they're like, I'm sorry. I just don't feel comfortable being put in that suit. He goes, and he said, I told him I wish him luck. And he said, I love Deadpool. It's one of my favorite movies, but I hated shooting X-Men 3. And he goes, it was a horror. I couldn't hear nothing. And he goes, I only signed on because Matthew Vaughn was going to do it, but then he pulled out. And then Ratner, I hated. He made me say that stupid line, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. And I was like,
it was funny, but it was still funny.
But he goes, we had to go, and that was not even part of the shooting. We went back and shot that like on a day off, because they said, oh, it'd be so funny. and it wasn't. He says, I hated that. I'm like, that's so stupid. No one's gonna. And then, and in which he said, but yeah, he says, I just turned it down.
No,
And
but
now,
it wasn't funny, but it was funny to make fun of that line that he actually said that out loud. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
I thought it was a great line. I'm glad they put it in there.
They used that shit as a meme, but it was. But yeah, I understand that they couldn't get everybody back to play these characters.
Wouldn't it be funny if they put Ryan Reynolds in the mask and it's? But I'm saying, like, you know, like in Free Guy, it's just Ryan Reynolds Juggernaut. That would be funny.
That would be funny.
But or just bring back Juggernaut from Deadpool 2.
Oh, dude, that would have been fucking awesome. That would be awesome.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
It would have been great.
No, it wouldn't.
You didn't like the Juggernaut in Deadpool 2?
No. No, we are not. But then we get in the midst of the final battle, we get Nova looking into Logan's mind, and I mean, talk about a really dark scene there. Are those like monoliths like supposed to be like graves of some
X-Men grave sites? Yeah, they were X-Men.
Yeah, those were the grave sites. Yeah,
that's what I thought when I saw it. I'm like,
yeah, I didn't know what it was at first, but then it was later clarified that was the tomb of the grave of the X-Men.
I do like though that whenever I do like how they put the helmet on her and everything, and I'm like, and then she's basically and then of course Pyro comes and shoots her, and she's like she's gonna die, and then all of a sudden she's like. And like he says, I will kill you both if you on this. And I'm like, don't even chance it. I was like, so why would you even chance
Personally,
it?
I wouldn't chance it either, but he had to take the leap of faith
when
and say,
she dies,
hey,
you could dig in her pockets. Okay, look and see if there's anything.
Well, they don't know. Well, they don't know how she was able to get them back. They don't know about the whole sling rain or anything. They didn't want to take any chances because she was the only one who can get them out of the void. Because she made a deal with the TVA that you can go and do whatever you want. You could be their god in the void, blah blah blah, in the Badlands. Because she's been raised all of her life in the void of time and space and of the multiverse. So yeah, they didn't want to take any 50 gamble. If they killed her, then then they have no ticket way home and they're screwed.
You know,
I love when Pyro is about to do his speech and he was like, "I have done this, I have done that," and Logan's like. Not everybody gets a speech.
Perfect. And it was kind of weird that he just used a bullet to shoot her when he could have just roasted her with his fire.
You know, it's weird that they made Pyro. I always thought that was odd.
He looked like a redneck, goofy villain.
Like he looks like a meth head too, with his teeth rotten and everything, and he's just like. Which I mean, that's part of it. That's the part of it because it's like he's like, oh, he's been put in the void for years. You know,
yeah, that makes sense because he's been stuck in the void for years and he's been trying to get out of that void. He hates that place. But also, I wanted to piggyback on the fights with the variants with Blade, Elektra. Every one of them got their moment to shine. Did you notice that when Laura puts that same glasses from Logan, that really brought us back to that movie Logan. That was a great callback. And her belt buckle has the X-Men logo on her belt. I didn't notice it on the first viewing until Daphne King brought it up in the interview at Comic-Con. I was like, oh, shit, I did not notice that. But yeah, I'm glad that we got every character moment to shine with Elektra doing her thing, Blade, and fucking Gambit gets to have his moment to shine. And that was so... The moment he was throwing his cards with his kinetic energy at their bodies, and the moment he just stands there like, boom, fucking explodes in their fucking body. That was a fucking
and Blade,
great body
whenever
count.
Azazel and Blade are fighting, he's trying to hit him and Blade.
Yeah, he's trying to hit him and he's keep failing. And all of a sudden he kills Toad, and he kills Toad and brings him around the neck and boom. And that one line that dropped from the first Blade movie, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. He brought that line back in the movie. I was like, yeah. I was like,
wait, is that from Blade 1?
Yeah, it was from Blade 1 when he defeated Deacon Frost. He was like, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill.
That was a nice callback. I love that.
I was
Wesley Snipes said he didn't tell anybody he was shooting this. He said he just tell his family, "Oh, I'm going over here for a couple months to shoot a movie." And Wesley Snipes said, he said that thank God they had some padding to help out with the. Which I thought his suit was CGI at first because the way he walks.
No, it was practical. It was
but I was just thought that was CGI at first. I'm like, this master's.
And also, you can't kill the Daywalker. He has the regenerative healing. He's a half breed. He's the Daywalker. You can't kill him.
Which it was a great kill.
It was so badass that he got a chance to get this moment. Like it just like finally we got it Blade back one last time at least, and it was in Gambit. Yeah, we got the comic book actor we wanted. He got a chance to do his action scenes, and it was perfection that we've always wanted to see. That was like crossing off the bucket list.
But then we're back to where we started, and
They ran
the
on
Time
TV the
Ripper
car.
is almost going to get started, and then we see what I'm
Then get a blind
see,
down.
yeah, the army of Deadpools led by, I want to say, Blake Lively.
No, it was
Yeah.
Blake Lively. She confirmed it on
That-
her social media, and I had to watch the credits, and it says, yeah, that's Blake Lively. And we don't even know if that was actually her in the suit. They might have just dubbed her
I
voice
think it was
over.
a model. I think it was a model, and then like they had like I think a lot of the
Yeah.
Deadpool were models, and then they just got voiced over. Like Matthew McConaughey was.
Yeah, that was. I didn't know. I couldn't recognize Matthew McConaughey's voice when I first saw the movie until I had to watch it again. And like, yep, that's definitely McConaughey's voice as Cowboy Pool.
I recognized it immediately. I mean, McConaughey has a very distinctive voice.
Which he did make, which
Mhm.
Deadpool did
So-
make fun of Matthew McConaughey in the blooper reel in Deadpool 1. Dr. Phil can wait. You can watch the Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercial, you communist fuck. And he made fun of McConaughey again in Deadpool 2.
Which,
or just read Green Lights. It's a fantastic book, but regardless.
Which, by the way, I did like that how when they first because Sandra Nova basically is gonna like kill Pyro, and she's I'm trying to get in your head now for, and then like wait I'll just tell you, and then she's like oh you betrayed me so I'm gonna wipe out every universe and make it only the Void, and I'm like oh I was like well her and Kang had the same freaking idea. I was like her and Kang only hers
Yeah.
is. I was
She
like,
got screwed. She got screwed over. It's like, hey, we had an arrangement, but now you can go fuck yourself. Now I'm going to kill every fucking one in the universe, so there would be nothing left but the Void.
In the words of Gene Wilder from Blazing Saddles, boy, is she strict.
which I will say, I did like how like they had Nice Pool the dog come out again. Nice Pool is the first one out, and he goes, "Oh hi," he goes, "Hi again," and then they're like, and then Deadpool's like, "Oh, this
And Deadpool's
dog."
fuck.
Poor freaking Nice Pool, though. Like of
And he just used
He
it
got
like
used as a human shield. And he literally thought he can heal. He's like, how long does it take for you to heal? Regenerate?
And Wolverine's like, "You
Oh,
fucking
you're
asshole."
a God's
You
perfect
fucking
idiot. He's like, you're a God's perfect idiot.
It's like
And
he's
then
like,
Nice
"You
was like,
fucking killed
I'm
another
gonna
person."
live.
I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live.
And then
And
there's
then-
a joke, by the way.
He's like, hey, there's a donut over there with the medicals. Like, oh, I'm gonna help him, and Wolverine's like, no, he's not.
And by the way, there's a joke, by the way, on the building they fall into is called Rob Liefeld's feet. They said feet, nothing but feet, which is a joke because Rob Liefeld who created Deadpool.
Yeah,
and
it had a sign up in the first trailer. Yeah, they showed that.
He can't
as an
draw
Easter egg.
feet. Like that was the one thing he cannot do is draw feet.
The one joke I want to piggyback on the early scene when they were in the Badlands when they escaped from Cassandra Nova is like, hey, get the fuck off me. I'm almost done. Almost done what? Getting the knife under your buttocks, you pervert. Get your mind out of my oh my God. And it's like, hey, I'm telling Blake. He name dropped his wife, Blake.
But then the like a prayer sequence happens, and Wolverine takes the hood and puts over the classic like.
You can tell that's CGI until he has the mask on.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, that's when it becomes real. But it looks so the transition's so good from CGI.
It was beautiful. I heard the crowd going nuts over that when he put the cowl on. And Deadpool was like,
killing all the Deadpool.
He was like, hey, what the hell? Were you saving on an occasion?
They started killing all the Deadpool, and I'm like, there's no way they're dead because they're Deadpools. It was like, even if you cut their heads off, they're not dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I thought the single shot when they were just fucking mowing down a bunch of Deadpools, that was beautiful. Everything we wanted to see Wolverine to be. A berserker rage of Wolverine comic book accurate
Deadpool kept running away like a little bitch in the trans shot.
Yeah.
shot.
We saw baby
like,
Deadpool.
Like this, like, oh shit, they're killing everyone.
We saw baby Deadpool and we saw Kid Pool who's a trash mouth.
He's like, get your cock. I want you to get your cock out of Wolverine's mouth. And it's like, oh, this little fucker, this little fucker.
It's like this little fucker.
And then all of a sudden, Wolverine, and all of a sudden the kid, little man, is like, what are you laughing at, you little fucker? And then they're like, that. And then they turn around. It's like a Game of Thrones shot where like they all rise up again. I'm like, oh shit. And then they're like,
Yeah,
and then
it was
Peter
yeah,
saved their life.
it was like the fucking like the one White Walker style from Game of Thrones, like you said. But when they were jumping off the bus, doing their little superhero pose when the money shot, it looked great. But the one thing I had a pet peeve from that one shot when they were landing, we see Wolverine looking around. It looked so wonky. It looked like a video game character for a moment. I was like, what the fuck? That didn't look
CGI,
practical.
it wasn't Hugh Jackman.
That was totally CGI. Like that looked like a video game character.
And then
moment.
Peter steals Deadpool's outfit, and they're like, Peter! And they all love Peter. And
They
I'm
all
like,
have their own Peter. They love Peter. But wasn't that fun? But wasn't that funny when like they didn't need to use Nice Pool as a human shield, and fucking Wolverine figured out another solution to get out of the firefight. Use the dog pool, and everybody stops, and he just walks over like idiot.
He's
like,
holds up the dog.
He had to think like an idiot for a minute. He had to think like an idiot. I was like, how do I think like an idiot? Oh yeah, they like the dog. And they're like, oh, they won't kill the dog.
They're not going to kill the dog.
I was like, that's like I felt like
he probably figured that those variants love dogs, and especially when Deadpool gets all giddy when he meets the dog pool.
Like also Peter, I'm like laughing because I'm thinking like the person I went to theater with said, "Oh, they're gonna fuck Peter." He says every single one that Peter's about to get his ass railed by Deadpool's.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I was like, except for the lady, he said, lady, he'll have one female, and the rest will be dudes just railing his ass. So I was like,
yeah, didn't Lady Deadpool had a baby that Nice Pool mentioned earlier in the movie?
Like, no, but that was a Blake Lively joke. That was a Blake Lively.
Yeah, that was definitely a Blake Lively joke.
Which, by the way, I just thought that was so funny though. I thought that was so funny though, especially whenever and then of course they go down there to save the day, and they're like, oh, it's too late. And then I like how they do the sacrifice. He's like,
the moment that Wolverine was making the choice that he wants to sacrifice himself, like, hey, you got people to go back to your world, and fucking Deadpool wanted to sacrifice himself. Like, hey, I dragged you into this. Like, oh man, it was like which one of them was going to make the sacrifice. But for me, Wolverine was like, I got nothing. I got no one.
You know, I want to bring this up because I told Collins that this happened. The moment where Wolverine and Deadpool are doing this, the matter and the antimatter are like converging, and they're fighting against Nova, and they're reliving everything that happened in the movie, plus some of the past stuff. I started welling up, and it nearly started making me cry. I cannot point to any other movie moment this year that made this happen, and I'm not a shill. I'm not somebody who is like, everything Marvel does is great. I've been very critical of the MCU's output over the past number of years. This was a thing that actually happened. And
Kingdom of the Planet Apes made me cry, but that was for other reasons because it sucked.
So when I say that, I'm not trying to be, put up my blinders or anything like that. I say this because it actually happened. So that ending
when they were holding it together, the void. You're showing flashes. And it really was a callback, especially with Deadpool. From Deadpool 1 to Deadpool 2, the flashes got me all emotional. And him getting this shirt, Wolverine's shirt.
The credits got me emotional, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah,
but also Wolverine's armor got shredded, and he is fucking ripped. And he made that joke earlier when they meet up with the variants of the Marvel Legacy characters. Like, yeah, he let himself go after the divorce. He's wearing that armor because he let himself go after the divorce. And then the moment he starts seeing his 6-pack ab, he's like, a lot of people thought it was CG. A lot of people thought it was a CGI abs. Like, no, it clarified that they showed still photos of him shirtless, of him.
Dude, Jack wants all the ladies are like, ooh, and then. I love how Peter.
Dude, wasn't that cool? But wasn't that cool when Deadpool just decided to take Wolverine's place when he just fucking hits him with a fire extinguisher and he does that fucking Spock from the Wrath of Khan and makes fun of that.
And then he comes back and he's just like this, and he's like, oh look.
I was like, woo!
I was like, okay, now you're just showing
I'm stalling. I don't know. I don't like dying.
It's like, which I do like at the end, like how Paradox, like, oh. Which they like the lady from Loki was like, she's not buying their bullshit, and then his bullshit. But then all of a sudden, then he goes, "Fuck!" fuck!" And then when they come out there,
They
and
played
then
the Google Dolls song. They played the Google Dolls song, and that was so fucking badass. That
It
they
was-
just both
it was
walking like a
great.
boss.
and then
And
all of
then
a sudden
they go-
Peter
and
comes
then they
down
go
there
get
whenever they're
shawarma.
about to whenever they're about to send them to like the void again. They're like, Peter comes down and he goes, "No, wait, this Deadpool's from here." And then he goes, "Oh,
And then-
okay." And she goes, "Who are you?" And she goes,
Peter and the TVA lady, they got
Oh my
the,
god! Like that
Yeah.
was so out of nowhere.
What's he
Like,
wearing?
wait, what?
To quote Duran Duran, hungry eyes.
He was like, "Peter, huh?"
Oh, she wants to get with him. I was like, damn, dude. Fucking A, that's his greatest superpower.
I'm like, you know what? I thought that was so funny. And then of course they go and they say, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Let's go get some shawarma."
But also, he can't go back to his. He can't change the timeline from Wolverine's universe. So they were able to make somehow. They're the anchor of this universe,
yet they
and whatever
have
they
the
did, and yeah, because no, they saved their own Deadpool's own universe because
Yes,
in
they
the
could
beginning
have.
because Mr. Paradox told him that the anchor that the reason why that his universe is about to get destroyed and about to go extinct for millennial because Logan, from the moment that Logan died in that universe, it fucking erupts that universe. He was supposed to be the anchor, and Deadpool thought he was the anchor of that universe, but apparently no, it was Logan. And whatever they did at the very end, they helped save his universe, so they're pretty much the emotional anchor of that world. Which I don't know how that would make any sense to me, but whatever. It was just like more of the MacGuffin plot line.
You know what I really liked about this movie, though? You know what I really liked? What made me laugh? I like at the end, though, like when they're eating shawarma, they're sitting there and Wolverine's shirtless, but he has a TVA shirt on. And then, of course, all of a sudden,
So get your shirt on. I want to see your man boobs or something.
I want to point out the comment from Kyle H. Ben Affleck would have been a cool cameo.
I said that. I literally said
I
it would've
agree.
been funny.
No, Charlie
Maybe-
Cox would not make any sense if he cameoed. I think
Would
Ben
not have
Affleck
made
would have made
sense.
more sense to me.
Ben Affleck would have
that-
been funny callback, especially like my joke. If you weren't here earlier, I said it'd have been really funny if Ben Affleck would have cameoed. And like he's blind, so then she makes him see, and he's like just goes crazy because he can see. He's like, "Oh my god, I can see! What the fuck? I can see!"
But also, Wade Wilson was able to make an arrangement to bring back their friends that helped save their life and help them get that out of the void. They said, "Hey, we want them to bring them back to this universe. They saved our lives." And she was like, "I'll see what I can do." So apparently, Gambit, Elektra, Blade, and Laura are in his universe.
Yeah.
We only
They
get to
did
see
say there were
Laura
some
in
cameos. They
the
had some
dinner
cameos
party,
that they could
but
get.
I have a feeling that the rest of them
Yeah,
got
reason.
really back into his universe.
Yeah.
Like I'm
But,
sure they got other people. I'm sure the reason people like wonder why didn't the X-Men appear? Well, it's probably because there's a little thing called Secret Wars where like you don't want to shoot your load too soon. You want to save it for some time.
You don't want to unkink the hose like right now.
You don't want to overcrowd the characters
Yeah,
with
we're about to
take away the
get
focus.
Don't worry. We're gonna get all the X-Men, all the Fantastic Four, every single
Spider-Man, all the fucking variants of Marvel characters.
Hopefully, we get everything. Ghost Rider, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, Eric Bana's Hulk.
Yes, I would love that.
He would have been perfect for this movie.
Dude,
perfect for this.
That would have been another redemption. Another redemption to the characters.
Nicolas Cage would have done it too. He would have definitely done it.
I wouldn't be surprised when we see these characters return in Secret Wars. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Because he's not in even though that Deadpool and Wolverine are now part of the MCU, but they're not in part of the whole sacred timeline of the MCU that reality. They're back. He's still back into his own reality.
You know, it'd been really funny in Deadpool and Wolverine if the Ghost Rider was there. And you know how he pisses fire in the second one? If he was just imagine him just pissing on some guy.
Yeah, can you imagine if he fights and he pisses all over them?
And it's just like Ghost Rider's just sitting there like this.
Pissing fire.
And he's like,
and Nick Cage's like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
And then imagine he's just like Red Deadpool goes, oh my god, he's R-killing that man. He's like,
oh my god.
But in the mid-credits scene, we essentially get a very lovely little send-off for the 20th Century Fox X-Men movies. This part, Collins told me it made him very emotional.
But also with Laura and now Logan reuniting, they both got their happy ending now. That was beautiful that they were at the dinner table. And also Wade got his happy ending because now he's back with Vanessa.
He said, give me the dog and talk to her. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
It's like, give me the fucking dog and talk to her.
Ghost Rider and Blade meeting. Imagine that.
Dude, that would be fucking sick. Come on,
But,
Nick Cage and Wesley Snipes.
But that
You know
video
what?
package that they have with
Oh,
that footage,
yeah, sad
soundtrack
song
by
playing.
Good
It's
Riddance, Time of
Hugh
Your
Jackman
Life
doing
Yeah,
by
it played Green Day. It played Green Day, Good Riddance, and
was
yeah,
just
this was because this was a tribute video that this was supposed to be the end of the era of the Fox's Marvel movie that made the biggest impact of the golden age of the comic book genre from best to
smiled
worst.
so bad. I smiled so big. I was like,
I was smiling. I teared up.
Imagine, I remember the first Marvel film I saw of that universe, of the Foxverse, was Fantastic Four. And then I saw X-Men The Last Stand, and then Rise of Silver Surfer. And
So you had a bad experience. You had a bad experience at first. For me, I was with the, and here's a from my experience of the comic book genre. I was introduced with DC, but also with Marvel. Speaking with Marvel, I watched a lot of animated shows like Spider-Man and X-Men, blah blah blah. But when we saw Blade in live action in the late '90s, I didn't even know that he was a Marvel character. And yeah, he was the first, but he didn't have the impact of the comic book genre. It was the first X-Men movie, and I was with the Fox's X-Men movies and Fantastic Four from the very beginning of the theatrical release. Like, I was with them from the very beginning, and seeing that tribute video really brought tears to my eyes. The way that I lived through those times when they got made.
To see them say, like, and they're waving goodbye, like you're seeing, like, Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Yeah, Chris Evans and Human Torch, and we saw,
Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool from X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then you're seeing, like, the 2015 Fantastic Four. You're seeing, like, the first class X-Men. You're just seeing all of them, and you're like, this is. And you see Ben Affleck as Daredevil and Jennifer Gardner as Elektra.
And we saw Jon Favreau in the scene with him and Ben Affleck in Daredevil movie, though, which that was pretty cool.
It's just so sad.
Because even Kevin Feige was one of the producers from the very beginning with the Fox's Marvel movies, and even Sony and here and there before he was the head of the Marvel Studios. And playing that song with Green Day, Good Riddance, really brought because I love this song Green Day because I grew up with Green Day, and I haven't listened to that song in a very long time. But then after watching this tribute video at the end of the credits, I listened to that song over and over again, and I know the words from the heart because I love that song. Yeah. It was perfect for the tone.
It's one of Green Day's best songs.
And then at the end, they dropped the Fox logo, and I'm just like, oh my god!
Like, this is goodbye. This is saying goodbye to the Foxes, the Marvel universe.
We don't see that. We never see that with the studio. Usually, it's like, oh, like we always say, oh, it's a reboot, but we never see.
And even Ryan Reynolds recently put out his social media post that, hey, this is now going to be the end of the era. Not only like, hey, I'm now in part of the MCU, but this is really a good send off to the Fox's Marvel movies that we went through for the last over 20 years from good to bad.
To 2000 to 2024.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's crazy. Like, you know what? If you were born in 2000, how old were you in 2024?
24.
I thought you'd be 25.
I was born in 92, so I was like,
you were 100.
Yeah, I was 100 years old. I might as well be fucking Wolverine. So yeah, I was like 7 or 8 years old when the first X-Men movie hit in theaters.
Yeah, you're old enough to vote. Like when I was like 10.
I might as well be the Wolverine.
But one more thing that I did want to touch on before we sign off tonight. I came across a tweet from someone that I follow named Dave Lee, and he put out like screenshots of a couple tweets of like people who were of like very doomerish tweets. Like, I'll read off a couple of them. I've sat through a lot of dreary superhero films, but Deadpool and Wolverine was the first to actually make me think mainstream cinema might not be salvageable. I want to take a moment now to say...
Who was that? Who said that? Which cunt said that?
I'll send the screen.
I'll send whose cunt said that? Damn, you're really not. You're taking the gloves off right now. Jesus Christ!
I said somebody said some cunt said that. What was the next one?
I'm sending it to you right. I'm sending it to you right now. But the point I'm trying to get at is,
I'm not going to go after him. I'm just saying, like,
no, we're certainly not. But
no, he's going to go after him. He's like, who the fuck said that shit? Who's the cunt said that?
What's the next one they said?
Well, and let me just be clear. Dave Lee is like the guy that like found the tweets and like made the compilation. He didn't actually tweet this, but that was one. If you want me to read all of them, because there's four, I'll
Oh,
read all of them.
you don't have to read all of them. You can just give us a few, and we'll go from there.
Here's one: Deadpool and Wolverine, or fuck ass fan fiction, the movie, aborted projects, Reddit posts, and the most annoying fan wish list tweets you can imagine, all rolled into a glorified clip show slop. One of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. No one deserves this.
Said some asshole.
No one deserves this. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, that's fine if you want to not like the movie, but here's the thing: don't be a jerk. But here's the thing: don't be a fucking jerk off and fucking attack other fucking people because they love the film and it really served as a great fan service and a great story. If you weren't a fan of it, that's fine. Like, but don't be such an asshole about it. Like, go fuck yourself if you're gonna think like that. I guess that they were even there's some one criticism saying they need to stop making superhero movies because they're going for teeth. Fuck you. Like, that's fine if you don't like the movie, but don't go around and fucking say stupid shit like that.
Fatigue is not the problem. Making bad movies, like Sony
it's mediocrity fatigue. That's what it is.
Superhero mediocrity is what it is. Okay, You know what? No one's talking about superhero fatigue right now with Deadpool and Wolverine. No one's talking about
it's already breaking box office records right now. It's now the highest one.
What was the last movie that came out?
But also, I kept hearing people like, "Oh God, I'm so sick and tired of this multiverse bullshit story." Blah, blah.
I don't understand why people are saying that. What? How many?
Do you not like nice things? Do you not like having nice things in your life? But also, it's all about sometimes even if you didn't make a multiverse storyline, they can still end up making a shitty movie regardless of whether you make a multiverse storyline or not. Make a good movie, execute your story. That's all that matters, and we wouldn't be fucking having this conversation.
Exactly. And I guess the point I'm trying to get at with this is that, to quote Brian Zane, a YouTuber that I follow, like what you like, don't be a dick. Like,
exactly.
That's the
and
point.
I'm going to quote Butcher from The Boys. Don't be a cunt.
I'll tell you something, okay? You're more than it's okay if you don't like for instance, there's a lot of people that do not like that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom. That's fine if you don't like it. But to bash other people and then tell people like, oh, you're an idiot if you like this, or tell people like, oh, and then go out there and then just like do a video saying, oh, this is reasons why I don't like it. Just fuck off, okay, man? Let people enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you don't like it, that's fine. It's okay. Like you're not feeling it right now because I know we've been burned so many times before with Marvel, and they're trying to slowly get back into the swing of things with the quality of the movies and trying to fucking course correct the issues. But hey, it's all about make a good movie, make a good story. I've said this a million times before on my tweets, and I've told them like, hey, I think this is a brilliant move, and I have my reasons why, like A, B, and C, and D, blah blah blah. But if you don't like it, if you're not feeling it, that's okay. Like, don't sit there and whining, cry baby in your bed, fucking looking at your screen like, oh, they should have done this. They should have got Cillian Murphy and Dr. Doom. Oh my god, making a fucking video memes. Like, grow up, grow the fuck up.
And, you know what's one thing, and
you can't have your cake and eat it too.
I just want to say there's one thing that a lot of people have issue with, and I'm guilty of this too. I've done this before, is when people go and watch a movie and then try to critique the movie of not critique it, but just saying, oh, well, I didn't like the movie because they didn't do this, this, and this, and this, and it's like, which I'm like, I was like, it's kind of true. Like, for instance, like some people went and saw Doom Part 2 and said, hey, like, like I remember Campia was talking about it saying, he said some people saw Doom Part 2 because they said it didn't have a political message, that they gave it a bad review.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I mean, let me just make it perfectly clear. Not every movie has to have a political message.
Twisters did not have a political message.
Yeah, you don't need to have, like, look, here's the thing. Every movie, blockbuster movie, can always have political message. They always do a lot of preachy. The only thing is just execute it, but don't be too on the nose and don't force it. We're fine with messages. I'm fine with it as long as it serves the story and not just thrown in there for the sake of it, because it's more about characters and story over political stuff or spectacle.
Okay, like some people complain like about wokeism in movies. I'm like, look, it's okay for there to be woke in movies.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
As long as it's not like something where it's like something like, where it's just like pandering, where it's just like I am a strong black female and today no man can do it but me. And then, then you're just like, okay, now you're pandering. Instead of
like just don't pander. Hey, I don't care if who you put in the movie. I really don't care. Make a good movie. That's all that matters. I don't care.
With a strong black female, that is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
But
we've
like,
seen a lot of strong female characters over the years. We didn't have
here's the
an
movie,
issue
okay,
with
for
it.
instance, Charlie's Angels, okay, the one that came out in 2018. I like that movie, but I understand people hate that movie because they say it panders. It does not have serve purpose. It just says, like, there's one shot of the opening of that movie after there's an action sequence where it's just a bunch of women, where it just shows a bunch of women about how women could do anything, and then it goes to the seat, and I'm like, I thought this was like an ad for, like, I thought it was like on the TV screen for the company.
It just looked like an ad. It just almost
I was
felt like it.
This is a real thing. This was just like something you just shoved in there. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I don't understand.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I did not see that version of Charlie's Angels. I kind of avoided it because I wasn't really that appealed to that movie. I don't know why. I mean, I maybe at some point I'll watch it, but I just didn't really have any interest in it.
I thought she did a great job on Pitch Perfect.
They're great. They're great cast. They have a great cast in this movie, but it's directed by Elizabeth Banks. But also, Elizabeth Banks does not have the best pattern making movies lately when she comes to directing.
Okay,
but the only exception I will say that I will give her props, even though the movie was so stupid and bad, but it was entertaining. Cocaine Bear. I will give her props. Like, that was entertaining and fucking hilarious, even though it was not a great movie. I understand. I don't blame you. I get it.
I like Charlie's Angels 2019. I'm saying I'm not against it, but I understand the criticism on that movie.
Right.
I understand why people criticize and say, "Oh, it's woke." I understand, even though I'm someone who says, like, I don't care when someone says woke. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I said, you know
I
what?
don't give a shit about that.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Here's the thing, and I've said this a million times before. I don't like when fucking content creators fucking critique movies saying, "Oh, they woke this. They totally woke this show. They woke this fucking movie."
Like, I had to eat shit because people were saying, "Oh, Obi-Wan is so woke."
Get fucked whoever says that stupid shit like that. Like, is that your real criticism? Did you really watch the movie? Are you really trying to like the movie, or are you trying to hate watch it?
Yeah,
I think what it is a lot of these content creators, a lot of these people, because people, like, when you complain and yell and scream and stuff about stuff online, that gets more clicks and views, and so
that's
they're trying to get more click and views. They might love this, but for instance, I'm sure they'll go out and see Twisters, and they'll find, oh, it's a lead and a female lead in the movie, and it's woke because they have black people in it, and and they don't, and black people don't chase after tornadoes, and I'm just like,
fuck,
what?
Did you really enjoy the movie, or are you just fucking talking shit just for the sake of getting clicks?
I'm 100% sure. By the way, I'm 100% sure that is a comment somewhere on the internet.
I never even heard of that comment. Whoever made that comment is a fucking loser.
I'm 100% sure.
We could do an entire stream just talking about this subject, but I think
it's called selective outrage is what it is.
Exactly, and to put the period at the end of the sentence on
we
that.
Got Alex in a comment.
Oh, yes.
Woke. You know what? I got your woke right here.
Yeah, people say people.
Side topic on multiverse. Did you see Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3? I did not.
I did, and I will say I thought that Part 3 was kind of the strongest out of the three. But to me, the Tomorrowverse, it has its ups and downs. But then when we got to Crisis on Infinite Earths, it looked like they were trying to connect to the other versions of the animated universe that they did a while back. But I just felt like that there was too many heavy exposition and characters that, like, why are we focusing on this person? It kind of takes away what the main story is, and it gets boring and drags on. And I was so excited to see the culmination of the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it was like, okay, they're about to do better than what the CW did. It is better, but it was still a little underwhelming at the same time.
You know what I had an issue with? I honestly, when it comes to animated DC films, not now, not back
yeah.
Now, most of them are just like cheap direct-to-video cash grabs. Like, that's all it is, and I don't really like watching those.
There were a lot of great straight to DVD movies for DC.
For instance,
There's been
Brainiac Attacks, Superman Doomsday, still the GOAT.
Oh yeah, they were still. I love Superman Batman Apocalypse. That was a fucking dope movie. Batman Under the Red Hood, which is probably the best Batman animated film of all time.
Batman Year One, Dark Knight Returns is the best one of my.
I know, I love that, and I love the Dark Knight Returns too. That was that's dope, dude. I love the Dark Knight Returns. It's one of the best. But my favorite DC animated film, I'm going to say the Flashpoint Paradox is the best.
Oh, I love that movie. That one.
That is such a rewatchable.
It's
such
better
an
than
incredible.
The
very
we got.
Well, it's not a direct adaptation, so I can't compare the two of them.
Yeah,
But
which also year Batman Year One as well. Batman Year One is really
Oh,
good.
Batman
Oh,
Year One was pretty good. That
dude,
was a
yeah.
pretty good one.
Yeah,
I
I'll tell
like
you what.
that.
Now, Batman Killing Joke was not good.
I
No,
did not
no,
see. I avoided it. I
I
avoided it.
watched it and I'm like Batman. When I saw Batman and Batgirl hook up, and I'm like Batman. That's the only time I've
What
ever
the
go.
fuck?
Batman would never,
I've heard about that too. I heard
he
about that.
would
I was like,
never do
what?
that. He would
That's so
never.
out of character for Batman.
It's like, what's he
Oh yeah,
gonna do? Is he gonna fuck Robin next?
but also with the Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3 animated film, they did make a few cameos. They did the Kevin Conroy Batman, which they got his voice dialogue before his death. They recorded his dialogue. There was a moment like I know you're not going to care much, but I'm going to spoil this one scene
You can
when
spoil.
the
I'm never
fucking
gonna watch it.
when his Earth is about to get obliterated with him in the Justice League, he comes across with Joker, Mark Hamill, which he did voiceover. He's like, "Hey, if I'm going to die as Batman." Gives us one punch before he about to get incinerated by the blast because the Anti-Monitor is wiping out the anti-wave across other multiverse of the other Earths. Which it was a good little last moment, even though it didn't need to be in there. And then we saw the Justice League are about to die too. With the one that we saw the Justice League animated series, we see Jon Stewart's Green Lantern kissing Hawkgirl, getting their last moment before they die. Which it was a beautiful moment, but we didn't need that scene. It was kind of a useless cameo.
one thing that I did want to mention before we close things out is that to the people who say that like cinema is dying, cinema's been dying since 1897 when George LeMay made a trip to the moon. Like cinema's dying is like the most tired argument ever. Like
It's so mental. Oh, dude. Speaking of understand, I wanted to say one thing before I forget. There was a funny moment with Blade in the movie in Deadpool and Wolverine when Deadpool was like, "I thought you retired," and Blade was like, "Retarded." I was like, "No, I wasn't gonna say that. I don't want to get canceled." I was like, "Did he?" I cannot believe he fucking said that out loud when Blade said that. I just died. I died. It's like retarded.
that was wonderful.
I had to bring that up because I didn't want to forget because before we signed up because that was the funniest shit that I've ever seen. It's like I didn't want to say that.
I guarantee you that was not in the script.
That was totally that was improv. That was totally improv by Wesley Snipes.
I don't know if we can use that. I don't know if we can say that.
Like, hey, let's reverse it and make the joke out of the whole cancel culture thing. But that was the funniest shit ever.
Well, yeah. But, speaking of retired, that Blade 3 should have been retired.
I agree.
That moment
but also, yeah, but also, like when Ryan Reynolds worked with him on Blade Trinity, he was literally playing Deadpool in some ways, even though he was playing Hannibal Caine. But his dialogue was like that was totally Deadpool dialogue. If you really look back on that movie, like that was him auditioning for Deadpool.
Yeah, but yeah, this movie, if we had to give it a grade, I would say I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
All right,
not bad. That's a great. That's. I'm giving I gave my non-spoiler review a 9.5 out of 10, and I still stand by it. But I feel like the more I watch it, the better this movie gets.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. 9.
It's still gonna be 9.5 for me. It's almost near perfect. But comparing to Spider-Man: No Way Home in this movie, Spider-Man: No Way Home is still a better film for me. I still love the movie more than for different reasons, but I thought it had a more better storytelling than Deadpool and Wolverine.
Is way better than this movie.
Oh.
I disagree completely. I don't know what you've been smoking, but I don't know if you're fucking with me at this moment, but I disagree.
I will say this. I like No Way Home. I like the cameos or the roles in the movie from Doc Ock, Spider-Man, and all that, and all the villains. Those are great. But if you take that out the movie is just okay. I
disagree. I still think it would have been a great movie. I thought that bringing back the legacy characters was more like an icing on the cake.
The legacy character, besides to me, it's like when I always skip I've never watched it fully through since I've seen it in theaters. I've always just skipped to when the Green Goblin shows up and then I watch it on there because I'm like, that's the better parts of the movie. Like for instance, when the first 20 minutes of the movie, I'm like, I don't care. It's like, but I do say this honestly though. I don't know. I think Multiverse of Madness feels like a more structured story compared to I know I like both those movies, but I feel like if I had to choose what is a better story, I would say this Multiverse of Madness over this. But because it feels more like a Sam Raimi Spider-Man story, but with Doctor Strange, compared to this one where I was like, this feels more like a fan fiction Spider-Man film.
True, but the thing is, even if they had those legacy characters, it's all about how they execute the story. And I thought that was handled well. If it was handled well, I would have been honest with you that it would have been crap if it wasn't that good to begin with. So yeah, I mean, you
But
can bring in
Deadpool
a lot of
was-
legacy characters. It just matters of, do they serve the narrative purpose to this character's story? Kind of like the characters from Deadpool and Wolverine with the 4 characters. They were not just thrown in for the cameo for the sake of cameos. They served
Now,
the
we'll
main
say,
character's
in
story and
Multiverse
not
of
the other
Madness,
way around.
the cameos in that movie.
The cameos
Oh.
were just useless. Those were useless. It
It's
didn't
like,
need to be in the
Wanda,
movie.
don't do this to this guy's voice because he can. Then all of a sudden she goes, "What?"
And
now?
also, they try to pick a fight with Wanda, and fucking Doctor Strange warned him, like, don't fucking pick a fight with the Scarlet Witch. She will fucking kill you. And they were making the dumbest fucking move in the world. And it was like, it didn't really know what it really wanted, to be honest with you. For that time. Even though it was a good movie, don't get me wrong, but it just felt like it suffered an identity crisis for this film.
Would you have been mad if Sam Raimi was announced yesterday as the director of Secret Wars?
No, I would not be disappointed. I think he would have learned from the mistakes and actually improve himself and actually do a better job next time. I would have still kept an open mind if he did direct Secret Wars. Because I think Sam Raimi's a great director. It's just like, yeah, I'm not saying that it's that what he did with that movie was terrible. It was solid, but not one movie that it's going to change your life and it's not going to be like an experiential event that we all anticipated.
But we are an hour and 40 minutes into this stream, so I think it's time to close things out. But what did you all think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. And it was really a great time doing this stream with these two. We do small talk every Tuesday here on this channel, but sometimes if it's nerdy enough, we assemble to talk about something superhero related. But all of their links are in the description of this video. Collins, what do you got coming up?
Nothing.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
Well, if you want to watch the rest of my Road to Deadpool and Wolverine, it's all up on my channel now, and you can watch my latest review of Twisters, the newest release. And at the moment, I don't really have that much going on right now. There's still a few movies that I still need to catch up that I missed. I wanted to check out Maxine, Long Legs that everybody kept talking about. Those things I still need to catch up on. So, yeah.
This is literally the poster for the movie.
Yeah, I saw the poster too. I did.
Yes.
I always laugh. I cannot get that movie out of my head because something tragic happened on that day, and Ryan saw it in theaters. And Ryan's like, "It makes me laugh still. The funniest shit ever is when he texts me and says, I'm in the theater for 2 hours and the world goes to shit."
Literally,
Yeah.
I turned my phone back on to the news of Trump getting shot. I'm like,
And I'm just like, I still cannot get that shit out of my head because I'm like, every time I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I was like, oh yeah, the former president almost got assassinated that day because Ryan went to go see Longlegs. Ryan went and saw it.
Oh, God.
It's like, Ryan, don't go to the movies anymore. Ryan, were you when you went and saw this movie? Did you think about where like, I wonder what's going to happen today? I wonder what's going to happen.
Honestly, I saw this movie with two of my best friends. You don't know. One of them is Phil from Phil Talks Sports, who reviewed the Wolverine and Logan with me. So I really wasn't concerned what was going on outside. But as far as this channel goes, I am a little behind on reviewing the rest of the X-Men movie, but the Dark Phoenix review is coming, and I'm going to review New Mutants as well because I am a completionist.
Do it, Ryan. You're better than this. Wait. Which one are you doing? Oh, New Mutants is better than Dark Phoenix. Okay, never mind then. Yeah, Dark Phoenix.
No, I don't like Dark Phoenix, but I thought Dark Phoenix is better than New Mutants. New Mutants was like the most.
Crap.
That movie was the most forgettable that I cannot believe. No, because the thing I had my gripe with it is that you made us wait for fucking 100 fucking years for that movie to get released, and this is what we waited for. Fuck that movie. I would never watch that film again. I'd rather watch Dark Phoenix over this piece of shit movie.
Dark Phoenix happens. Dark happens when Simon Kinberg shows the executive of Fox that hey. You would literally, I said, you committed a crime or you committed something nasty. So now, this is going to go public. If you do not let me direct a movie, any movie that I want, and they're like, okay, what do you want? I want to do Dark Phoenix again. Okay, just don't put this picture. Oh, I'm going to burn it. I already took Singer out of the equation. Now I'm going to take you out of the equation. I honestly, you know what? I would not have been shocked if it was Kimberg that got Singer canceled. I would not have been shocked if someone told me, yeah, like Kimberg was the one that told Fox to fire Singer from Bohemian Rhapsody and try to get him blacklisted at Hollywood so he could direct the X-Men movies now.
But
That's a conspiracy theory. I know. I'm not trying to. I'm not really.
Don't quote this. Don't fucking tweet this shit. It's just we're just
someone's gonna be
spitballing
like,
with this.
Kinberg theory. Kinberg is Simon Kinberg the reason?
Conspiracy.
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 Yeah,
you know what?
that.
He got Josh Trank fired from Fantastic Four, and then he got Phil Lord and Chris Miller removed from Solo because he's a producer on Star Wars. So guess what? Is Kinberg the reason? Is he like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones? Is he whispering in people's ears saying, "Hey, you should let me make this and get rid of them"? And then when he makes it, it's garbage.
Maybe Kinberg is like Ultron. You're all just puppets tied up in string.
How could you be worthy? You're all.
He was at Comic-Con yesterday, and I got scared for a moment.
Like, you thought he was going to direct a Marvel movie. He's like, "Fuck me, dude. He better not be directing a Marvel film. Fuck that shit."
No, please.
I could hear Colin shit himself a couple stages.
It was like about to like go everywhere on the floor. I'm like, no, please don't. He's already ruined X-Men for years.
Please, no,
please.
Simon Kinberg.
He has made more bad X-Men movies. He's made all the bad Fantastic Four movies. He's made all the bad X-Men movies. He's literally every time he touches in his hands, it's like touching.
He made some good ones too. He did made some good ones as the writer, and he wrote Days of Future Past, which was arguably the best one.
Matthew Vaughn, and he said
he's credited as a story. Like that's just entitled.
They did the story for the movie, and then he wrote the story.
Yeah, he did the story, but he's written the fucking dialogue and the plot point of that movie. He just took this pitch of his idea from Matthew Vaughn.
Do you want to know what his pitch was for First Class? Do you really want to know? It's on the freaking Blu-ray. He says, I want to do basically the Breakfast Club at high school. And he said, my idea was you have young Cyclops and young Jean Grey, and it was going to be like the Breakfast Club, Mutant High type of like a TV show almost. And then like the producer said, this is terrible. And then, of course, Bryan Singer come on and said, why don't you make it in the 60s about the Cuban Missile Crisis? And then that's when Fox said, that's a good story. And then Matthew Vaughn came on, and then he reworked the Singer script. And then and they got hired. They hired a couple other writers to rework. And, I mean, that right there turned because Kinberg had an awful idea. I'm like, this is terrible. And then Days of Future Past.
We kind of did get a Breakfast Club thing from Apocalypse.
Yeah, Kinberg finally got this. Like I'm just saying, if whatever Kinberg touches, sometimes in a very, very small speck,
small little slippery slope,
you'll get a good Kinberg. But mostly you get mostly Kinberg, like he did. Do you know he was the word? You know what? I felt bad. I wanted to literally reach out to Zach Penn, and say, I am so sorry for thinking you and Kinberg ruined Days of Future X-Men: The Last Stand. It was Kinberg all by himself. I know you were trying to save it. Like he says. And then this, because have you noticed nobody wrote Dark Phoenix but him? Because that man literally was like, it's going to be, which I'm like, at least now you could see where the garbage came from in Last Stand. It's like Ryan made me laugh on his review for X-Men X-Men. What was it? Last Stand or whatever? Where he said it is common law that if there's a Phoenix storyline, that Simon Kinberg has to write it.
Yep.
But on one more.
Would it be funny if Disney decides to do it, and then all of a sudden Simon Kinberg's writing that one as well? It's
Simon Kinberg and Diablo Cody are the two screenwriters that make Colin shit blood for real. But
honestly, if I'm not wishing death, I'm just saying, if they were to pass away, I would not shed a tear.
But the Dark Phoenix and New Mutants reviews are coming down the road here on the channel, and they will be up very soon. And then when that road ends, another road will begin. I've teased it in other ways, but I'm formally announcing my next big road 2. These guys know about it. I've talked about it with them in other places. In honor of a little movie called Alien Romulus, it's the road to Alien Romulus. And be covering all the Alien movies I've never talked about. And I'm going to be having a couple debuts for that one too, so I'm looking forward to that. But thank you all for watching the stream. This is a very long stream, but thank you all so much for hanging out. For Collins, for Wyatt. My name is Ryan Cam. Always hold on to. Wait, that's the wrong show. See you all. See you all in the next one. Have a good night.
X4.